Today's video was requested by Jackson Miller. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Clown characters have existed in various forms ever since ancient Rome and ancient Greece. The Greeks associated the notion with that of rustic fools, while in Roman theatre, the clown character was called fossor, which literally meant laborer or digger. The word clown was first introduced in the English language around 1560 and could be roughly translated as peasant, boor, or rustic. It is believed that the word was derived from a Scandinavian term for clumsy. The initial clown versions were parodies of peasants or simple-minded people who often found themselves in comical situations while performing in theatres or at royal courts. Jesters, buffoons, and even Shakespearian fool characters are all among the early representations of the modern clown. The first clown character to reach mainstream recognition was portrayed by Joseph Grimaldi in the early 19th century and featured the white face makeup that has since become traditional for the majority of clowns. The August or red clown was developed by Tom Bellin Sr. while he was working at the Circus Renz in Vienna during the second half of the 19th century. He drew inspiration from Grimaldi while adding several elements such as oversized shoes and clothes, white makeup around the mouth and eyes, and the signature red nose. This would become the template for the hobo character, which is known as the children's clown or modern circus clown. In North America, notable August depictions include Bozo the Clown and Ronald McDonald. The Pierrot, also known as sad clown or white clown, is opposed to the rude, grotesque, and clumsy August and considered to be more sophisticated. Some of the white clown's facial features, such as the lips or eyebrows, are commonly engrossed in black. Charlie Chaplin's Tramp is a notable variation on the traditional sad clown that was extremely popular during the 19th century. Out of the traditional comedic and playful clown archetype arose the concept of the evil clown. Its origins are still unclear, but it's been present in fiction ever since the 19th century in works such as Hop Frog by Edgar Allan Poe, and possibly even earlier. Murderous clowns have also had a presence in dramas such as Catulle Mendez, La Femme de Tabaran in 1874, and Pagliacci by Ruggiero Leoncavallo. The modern stock character of the evil clown or killer clown is believed by many to have been introduced by Stephen King's It in 1986. The modern evil clown disguise includes elements from the horror genre such as exaggerated grins, darkened facial features, and they are often depicted wielding various weapons. Notable examples include Pennywise from It, the Joker, Batman's arch nemesis, and others. Number 4. Bozo the Clown. A minister who was known as the Christian Clown was arrested in October of 2007 on charges of owning child pornography and intention of engaging in sexual relations with a minor. Ammon Paul Carlock Jr. had performed for children as Bozo the Clown for more than a decade in the US and had even traveled abroad for performances in Mexico and the Philippines. After a performance at the House of Joy Orphanage in the Philippines, Carlock was stopped by customs officers at the San Francisco airport who asked to see his digital camera, as he had visited children in a country listed as high risk for sex tourism. On his camera, the authorities discovered pictures of naked boys showering, playing, or sitting with their genitals visible. Some of the boys seemed to know that they were being photographed, while others appeared to be unaware. When questioned about it by investigators, Carlock insisted his motivation for taking the pictures was with the intention of editing them and showing children at his church in America the impoverished conditions in which other children lived. His teaching moment would allegedly be based on the fact that the children were so poor that they could not even afford clothes. However, 3 boys from the House of Joy told the police that upon waking up, they saw Carlock fondling their genitalia. Subsequently, when the police searched his home in Springfield, Illinois, they discovered more than 21 videos of child pornography. Even as he was being sent to prison, Carlock maintained his innocence. In November 2007, he died in prison due to health complications as he was awaiting trial. There are several types of clowns that play various roles, and they may be found all over the world at children's parties, carnivals, circuses, restaurants, theater productions, and musical productions. Clowns are also widespread in different works of fiction, like novels, comic books, and films. The general outline of what the clown's act entails during a show is called the framework. Business refers to the clown's individual movement and is often employed as a way of offering clues about the clown's personality and character. Gags are very short pieces of comedy which clowns use. They can also include prop comedy, such as squirting flowers or buzzers. A bit is the clown's sketch or routine, and it usually contains one or several gags that have been practiced before a show or that are improvised during the performance. Clowns International is an organization that was reportedly established in 1946 that manages a museum of clown memorabilia. The World Clown Association is an international organization for magicians, jugglers, face painters, and clowns. It holds an annual convention in the United States that is attended by performers from all over the world. Ever since 2013, there have been several reports of clowns appearing in incongruous or odd situations. Italian YouTube user DM Pranks, Matteo Moroni by his real name, had a series of killer clown pranks in 2014 which earned him millions of views. In these pranks, he dressed up as a killer clown character and ran at people wielding hammers or chainsaws. 2016 saw numerous evil clown sightings around the world. One of the first reports came in August of 2016 in South Carolina after a 9-year-old boy told his parents that two men dressed as evil clowns attempted to lure him into the woods. Then, reports started coming in from across the US of killer clowns in cemeteries, near forests, or schools that were scaring or chasing after children and adults. In some cases, they were wielding different weapons such as axes, knives, or baseball bats. Due to numerous incidences reported in the US, by the middle of October 2016, the killer clown trend had spread all over the world, reaching more than 18 countries. In New Zealand, several shops stopped selling clown costumes, while the Russian embassy in London issued a warning for British and Russian citizens due to the clown scare. Professional clowns have condemned the actions of killer clown pranksters, stating on multiple occasions that they did not wish for clowns to be perceived negatively. Number 3. The killer clown incidents of 2016. There are numerous reports of incidents which took place around the world in 2016. In Quebec, on the 2nd of October, a video surfaced of a clown with a chainsaw on a dirt road chasing after a car on foot. Also in October, a clown reportedly stabbed a Swedish teenager in the shoulder, and by the middle of the month, the Swedish authorities were reportedly overwhelmed by emergency calls resulting from various incidents and sightings involving people joining the killer clown trend. The only report from Asia took place in Singapore, where a man aged 19 was filming himself as he jumped out and towards people. He was subsequently arrested and questioned by the police. In the UK, Owen Russell, a 17-year-old boy, suffered serious head injuries and was left bleeding after people disguised as clowns threw a branch at him. Russell required stitches and told a news outlet that he could have just as easily been killed. Disguised as a clown in a dress, Thomas Prodger robbed a co-op store in County Durham. He attacked a worker and stole 9 boxes of cigarettes. He was caught and was sent to prison for 20 months. In Newcastle in England, 18-year-old Michael March was sentenced to 6 months in prison after dressing up as a clown and chasing a pregnant woman while wielding an axe. In Finland, a group of 10 people dressed as clowns jumped out of a van and scared the children from a school playground. France was also affected by the presence of killer clowns. A 35-year-old pedestrian was beaten with an iron bar by a person dressed as a clown in Montpellier, while in Besançon, a student injured his arm while defending himself from one wielding an axe. 14 teenagers carrying knives, baseball bats, and pistols were arrested in Edge for terrorizing the locals. In the US, 2 teenagers wearing clown masks robbed a Domino's Pizza and Phoenix Taco Bell in Arizona, and one of them had fired a gun. Fortunately, they were later arrested and nobody was hurt. On the 4th of October, while they were waiting at a bus stop in Topeka in Kansas, a group of children witnessed a clown wielding a knife that was chasing after a 13-year-old girl, but the assailant disappeared before the police arrived. Almost every state in the US reported various incidents involving clowns scaring, threatening with weapons, or chasing after adults and children. Coulrophobia is a term which is used to describe a fear of clowns. It's based on several notions, and even though it originates at an early age, many people carry the fear with them as adults. The exaggeration of certain aspects, such as the body parts or facial features that may appear humorous to some, might seem monstrous to others. The fear can also arise from the fact that the clown's behavior is often antisocial or transgressive. Research into coulrophobia has revealed that it may also be associated with an an aesthetics hypothesis known as the uncanny valley. This idea claims that some observers may have a negative response towards human replicas that are almost but not quite identical to human beings. Evil clowns are often seen as violent psychopaths who do not conform to society's norms. In recent years, the killer clown has become more popular and even more frightening due to the fact that many have chosen the disguise to prank and scare people, but also to commit various crimes, including murder. Even those who do not suffer from coulrophobia often find the image of the killer clown frightening. Those who wear the disguise are aware that it gives them the power to cause fear, and thus they feel that they can control and terrorize their victims. Even though most murderous clowns are fictionalized, some stem from real-life events, such as Bozo the Clown, a character that serial killer John Wayne Gacy would play at children's parties. The events of 2016 resulted in several violent incidents, including assaults and robberies. An encounter with a killer clown can also have traumatic and other lasting psychological effects on children and adults alike. Number 2. The murder of Marlene Warren. On the 26th of May 1990, Marlene Warren opened the door of her home in Wellington, Florida, and saw a clown holding flowers and balloons. Suddenly, the clown pulled out a gun and shot the woman in the face. Her son, Joseph Ahern, heard the gunshot and rushed to the door, where he found her lying in a pool of blood. Before diving off in a white Chrysler LeBaron, the clown turned to Ahern. It was at that time that Ahern noticed that the clown had brown eyes. 2 days later, Marlene Warren died. Her murder was never solved. Some investigators suspect that the killing was orchestrated by Michael Warren, Marlene's husband at that time, and Sheila Keene, a woman who worked for the couple's used car dealership. Detectives believe that Keene and Warren were having an affair, even though they had both denied the claim. In the event of Marlene's death, Michael would gain full control of their assets, which included rental properties, a car rental agency, the Wellington home, the used car dealership, and also a 5-figure life insurance payout. Based on a police photo, 2 store clerks identified Keene as being the one who had purchased a clown costume earlier that day. A woman matching her description was also reportedly seen buying balloons and flowers from a store near Keene's apartment, the same apartment where the neighbors had seen Michael Warren in the past. They were under the impression that he and Keene lived there together as husband and wife. A warrant was obtained to search Keene's apartment, but the search led nowhere. Michael Warren had an alibi for the day Marlene was murdered. He was heading towards the Calder racetrack with friends. Neither he nor Keene was ever arrested regarding the killing, and most of the evidence presented was seen as circumstantial. 4 days after the murder, the car that the killer used was found. Some orange fibers from the clown's wig were found inside, but a forensic analysis produced no results. It has been suspected that Michael Warren and Sheila Keene discreetly got married in Las Vegas in 2002. Regardless of how frightening the disguise might be, it is worth remembering that behind it there is still only a person. Most of the times, it is only a prank meant to scare people, but should the person wearing the disguise become aggressive, the means for dealing with them are the same as for any other aggressor. Options range from avoiding confrontation and alerting the authorities to the use of unarmed self-defense and self-defense weapons. Many killer clown pranks have backfired, resulting in the pranksters themselves being injured and arrested. Coulrophobia can be treated through exposure therapy with relaxation methods, cognitive behavioral therapy, which can include hypnotherapy, and antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication, which should only be taken if prescribed by a medical professional. Number 1. John Wayne Gacy. Also known as the Killer Clown. John Wayne Gacy was a serial killer who is believed to have been responsible for the torture, sexual assault, and murder of at least 33 young men and teenage boys between 1972 and 1978 in Cook County, Illinois. Even before becoming a serial killer, Gacy had had a history of sexual abuse on young boys. His first offense occurred in August 1967. The victim was 15-year-old 16-year-old Donald Voorhees, whom he got drunk and convinced to perform oral sex on him on the 3rd of December 1968. Gacy was sentenced to 10 years in prison for sodomy. He was awarded parole in 1970 after serving 18 months. On the 2nd of January 1972, Gacy committed his first murder. The victim was 16-year-old Timothy McCoy, who he had picked up from a Chicago Greyhound terminal. McCoy was taken to Gacy's home to spend the night with the promise that he would be driven to the bus stop in the morning. Gacy stabbed him to death. In a later interview, Gacy claimed that he felt exhausted after the murder and that he had had a mind-numbing orgasm as he murdered the boy. He stated, "That's when I realized death was the ultimate thrill." Most of the murders were committed between 1976 and 1978 during what Gacy referred to as his cruising years. During this time, he would pick up or abduct teenage boys and young men and bring them to his ranch house in Norwood Park. He would then get his victims drunk, handcuff them, and rape them before finally strangling them to death. 26 of the victims were found buried in the crawl space of his home. Gacy's killings are among the most gruesome ever performed by serial killers. He would constantly use various devices to torture his victims and sexually abuse them. Gacy was also a registered clown. In 1975, he joined a clown club called Jolly Jokers and devised the characters Bozo the Clown and Patches the Clown himself. He would often dress up as these characters at charitable events, local parties, and children's hospitals. Gacy taught himself clown face painting, although some professional clowns have noted that instead of painting round borders around his mouth so as not to scare the children, Gacy painted sharp edges. This would cause his characters to bear a resemblance to evil clowns. After the murders were revealed, Gacy would be given the alias Killer Clown. He was ultimately arrested and executed via lethal injection on the 10th of May 1994. At one point during his investigation, Gacy was quoted as saying to one of the detectives who had been surveilling him, "You know, clowns can get away with murder." He tore off chunks of Iona's nose as she screamed in agony. Luckily, her mother and father were in the house and were able to chase Fiden away and place him in his cage. According to Mari Manson, the girl's mother, there was so much blood on Iona's face after the attack that she could not see at all. Her parents feared that the dog might have gotten her eyes.